Alright guys, so today's video we're going to be checking out the brand new SoundPEATS Mini Pro. Now this pair is just released as of today, and if you guys know this channel at all, I am a huge fan of SoundPEATS products. In fact, I think they're one of those companies that they give you a lot for your money, but the last couple of earbuds that we've checked out by them, I honestly have not been a huge fan. It's kind of left me wondering what direction they're going in and why they've made some of the decisions that they've made. So at least with the SoundPEATS Mini Pro, judging by the specs on paper, this seems like the pair that can get them back on track. So to start with, let's talk about the price. Now these do come in at 59 bucks. They do have hybrid active noise canceling, so that's already inexpensive for a pair that has noise canceling. And on top of that, they're even offering an early release price on Amazon right now where you can pick them up for 39 bucks. So if you're interested in that, there is going to be a link in the description. And let's go ahead and start with the fact that these are called mini. I know a lot of people are always asking me what are some of the best small earbuds out there. They're always interested in something that's not huge and sticking out of your ear or having those long stems. And this pair definitely fits that description because it has a very compact case and the earbuds are also very tiny as well. Now, as far as some of the technology that's in these, they do have Bluetooth 5.2. They are using that Qualcomm 3040 chip, which is one of those that's giving you performance without taking a lot of your battery life. And this pair also has aptX adaptive. So to be able to get aptX adaptive in a pair that's $39 is already a huge plus because this is easily one of the best Bluetooth codecs out there. It's always adapting to your environment, to your signal and your connection and everything like that to make sure that you're getting the best sound quality. If you're also looking for a pair to use for different types of media like movies and videos and games, this pair also has a gaming mode that you can switch them into. And this cuts the latency all the way down to like 60 milliseconds. So this easily makes this another pair that you can use for not only your music, but any other types of media as well. Now, like I said earlier, this pair does have hybrid active noise canceling, so it has 3 different sound modes. It basically has the off mode where you don't have to use your noise canceling. It has your ANC on, and then it has a transparency mode. And the hybrid active noise canceling on this pair is a lot like the SoundPEATS T2. I think it is very, very solid. It does a really good job against lower tones like air conditioner units and engine noises and things like that. And when people are talking or if a TV's going on around you, it cuts out a pretty good bit of that, but not as much as the Sony or the Bose. So, you know, price-wise, that kind of makes sense. If you can get this pair for 39 bucks and the Sony and the Bose for $250 to $270, obviously the noise canceling isn't going to be as good. So I think they did a really good job here. And I also think they did a pretty decent job with the transparency mode. I felt like it sounded a little bit more natural. It doesn't have that hissing sound where the mics seem to be a little too sensitive. But I did notice if I'm listening to music, the transparency mode is not bringing in as much of my surroundings. So it works better once you pause whatever you're listening to and you have your transparency mode. That way you can just talk to somebody around you or hear cars and traffic and things like that. Now, if you are looking at this pair to use outdoors or maybe at the gym, it does come in rated at IPX5, which means it's fine against splashes and rain and sweat and things like that. But this isn't one of those pairs that you could submerge into water. Now, as far as what they include inside the box, and I do want to say that SoundPEATS has come a long way with their packaging. It's a lot cleaner. I do like the way that they package their ear tips now because in this box you are getting 3 sets of ear tips and you're also getting a USB-C cable. And you're going to have to use the USB-C cable because this pair does not have Qi wireless charging. And speaking of the charging, I felt like battery life was very good, especially considering how small these are, because you can use these with the noise canceling off and get around 7 hours on the earbuds and around 21 hours using the case. But if you just want to use them with the noise canceling on the whole time, you can get around 5 hours on the earbuds and around 15 hours using the case. So obviously the battery life with the case is not that good, but the case is very tiny, so that's kind of the trade-off with getting a pair this small. And another thing that I do want to point out is there's no fast charging on this pair. So they did have to cut back when it comes to Qi wireless charging and fast charging. So if that's a feature you're looking for, That's not going to be on this pair. But moving over to checking out the actual case and the earbuds themselves, I can't stress enough how small the case is on here, but it's actually very well built. It feels really solid. Now on the back, you can see it has your USB-C input, and then around on the front, it has that single indicator light. That way you can kind of gauge how much battery life is on the case. Now, moving over to looking at the earbuds, again, it follows the theme of being tiny, and I really like the offset look of the logo on these. I just think it brings a different look, and this pair does use touch controls, and it's very confusing because I was almost happy to say that it gives you control over everything, but the one thing that it leaves out is the ability to go back to your previous track. So you have your play, your pause, the ability to skip your tracks forward. You can't go backwards. You can turn your volume up and down. You can switch between the different sound modes, and you can also switch it into gaming mode. So it's like they almost got it right, but leaving out being able to go to the previous track is definitely frustrating. But for you guys that do like to use your earbuds for phone calls, I definitely think they did a really good job with the microphones. Again, for a pair that's this tiny and sitting further back in your ear, I felt like it picked up my voice really well, and I also felt like it did a really good job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here is the mic test using the Mini Pros. Again, I think the mics on here are doing a really good job of picking up my voice. I don't feel like it sounds too artificial or digital or boomy. So this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And now here's the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. So this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because the sound on these is very impressive what they're getting out of this 10mm biodiaphragm driver. It is definitely bright, and it is definitely boomy, but not boomy and sloppy in a way where it just rolls over everything. The bass on these I felt like had a really tight kick, and then they do allow it a little bit of slack so that it can kind of resonate a little bit, so that it has that subwoofer type feel. But it's, again, not a bass that comes in and destroys everything, because the treble on this pair is nice and bright. In fact, if you listen to these at loud volumes, you might even think the treble is a little too harsh. I mean, it has that like sparkle to it. Again, this personally is just a sound that I like. And they also left the mids in a way where it never got lost in the mix. They didn't try to push the mids too forward where they're just trying to push everything right there in front of your face. So the mids kind of had more of a natural tone to them. It didn't sound over accentuated. It didn't sound digital. And I really like the way vocals sounded out of these earbuds. In fact, I think this is an excellent overall sounding earbud. Same thing with the soundstage and the sound imaging. To be able to get a very dynamic sound like this and still have them sound like you're in a large room, everything sounded really nice and open. And I had no issues with being able to tell where different sounds and things were coming from. And it just sounded like it had a really good amount of space. So to wrap this up, my overall opinion on these is this is one of those no-brainer pairs. I mean, 39 bucks, you're getting aptX adaptive, you're getting that gaming mode so that you can use them on all different types of media. And when you mix that with the sound signature that these have and the active noise canceling that these have, it's kind of hard to complain in this price range. And even at the retail price of $59, I still feel like these are a steal. But you do have to keep in mind you are going to be missing out on Qi wireless charging and no fast charging. And it's still very confusing as to why they didn't give you control to go back to the previous track. So if you can look past those three flaws in this pair, $40 is a hell of a deal. $60 I still feel like is a hell of a deal because the noise canceling is that impressive and the sound signature is going to be one of those that a lot of people enjoy. But guys, that wraps up my video on the SoundPEATS Mini Pros. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.